I was like getting all these notifications and I was like, oh my God, why am I getting all these notifications? So I opened TikTok and I was like, holy shit, my video has 32,000 views. And I had a moment where I was like, oh, people like it, like people enjoy it. And it made me realize that my dreams were something that could be feasible. I could be a musician.
Hey, what's up, man?
Not much. How's it going?
I'm doing well. I appreciate you doing this.
Dude, absolutely. I appreciate you doing this. I am so beyond happy to do it.
Awesome. Killer. Well, again, thank you so much. Do you want me to, do you go by Fisher? Do you want me to call you Sam? Do you want me to call you Baby Fisher?
People call me Fisher for the most part.
Okay, that works out. Right on, man. Well, I'm Adam, and this is about you and your journey in music.
Amazing.
We'll talk about the new song that you just put out, and I just watched the video, which is really, really rad. I like it. Yeah, I love the editing, like just the quick clips of you as a young kid, and especially at the end there where you jump in the pool.
Yeah, it was made mainly by this woman, Shayna, and she's just the greatest. She's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's really well done, man. So, and again, I appreciate this. So I did read, are you from Van Nuys, or you're born and raised in the LA area?
I was born and raised in Van Nuys, and I moved to Burbank when I was about 10. So all LA native.
LA, rad. I'm originally from San Diego and lived there pretty much my entire life up until about 2 years ago. I moved to Nashville. So
Nashville's amazing.
I love it here. It's amazing. But I love Southern California. I'm a Southern California kid as well. So that's cool. What was it? Well, tell me about growing up there, or I guess up until 10 Van Nuys and then moving to Burbank.
Yeah, it's interesting though. People, when I do sessions, people always ask me, they're like, what was it like being raised in LA? And I genuinely don't know, because I don't know what to compare it to.
Sure.
Like, I don't know, like I can't compare it to being raised in like Wyoming or some shit like that. I just can't.
Right. I
don't know. I love LA. It's my favorite place. I don't know if I could ever live anywhere else for more than a year. So I adore LA. It's the greatest.
Did you grow up in a musical household? I mean, I've saw videos of you in that music video. You're playing piano at a young age. I did read about you, and you're playing guitar at a super young age as well.
I grew up in more of a creative house than a musical house, I'd say. My mom is a writer for TV and she writes books, and my dad produces kids cartoons. So
rad.
A very creative house. My mom can play a few chords on guitar and piano, but not really a musician. Both of her parents, however, were professional pianists. So whenever they'd visit, like I would get tons of just music, and it was amazing. But more of a creative house than a musical house, I'd say.
That's cool. So I'm sure because they've followed their passions, obviously, in somewhat in the entertainment world, which is always so hard, that they're probably it sounds like they're supportive of what you're doing. They're
more than supportive. They're the greatest when it comes to it. I got real lucky.
Yeah, most kids don't get that luxury. It's like, go to college and do this or whatever. So that's awesome. And when did you start playing an instrument? What was the first one?
So I started playing drums when I was, oh my God, I must have been in 3rd grade. And I'm not a great drummer anymore. I used to be decent, but it was my first instrument. And then I started playing piano when I was 10, and I played for about a year, and I didn't play for like 3-4 years. I didn't know that much. And then I picked up guitar when I was 12, and I played for about 4 months. And after playing for 4 months, I started playing at these blues bars, and that's like where I really got immersed in music, and it's where I got my start. And I was playing with these old, like legendary blues hired guns who were like played with all the greats. And so guitar is my most recent instrument, and I know a bit of piano now. I'm definitely not a phenomenal piano player, but I get along and I can record piano. But drums, then piano, then guitar.
Awesome. Yeah, in the video I watched, you're playing piano. There's like a clip of you on the piano playing.
Yeah.
That's what I asked. Well, okay, so you started off in drums. What drew you to drums?
Huh?
What drew you to want to play drums? Do you remember at all? I mean, 3rd grade's pretty far back, I'm sure. Okay.
I thought it looked so fun, like banging on the drums. Like I thought it was amazing. I could
still
play a little bit.
Oh, okay. Did they get you a kit?
I ended up getting myself a kit.
Wow. I have a 6-year-old son, and we got him a drum set over COVID because he has a massive amount of energy, but we got him the electric kit. So
That's
he
what
could
I
put
got.
on a headphone. Okay, I was gonna ask you, were you just smashing him around the house?
It
Or were
is
you?
the most annoying thing, but I think one of the greatest things you can do for a kid. Like drums are so fun when you're a child.
Oh yeah, and at least with the headphones it's like minimal, like instead
Yeah.
of like really loud and just driving my neighbors, nuts. But cool. So like you started playing guitar at 12. Was there something, or like real quick, you moved to Burbank? Was that a big move for you guys or a big change for you?
Kind of. It's 30 minutes away from Van Nuys where I like was little, but it's whatever. I mean,
like, did you change like at 10, you're what, in 5th grade or something?
grade, I went to 5th grade at a different elementary school over here.
That must have been hard. Like right as you're about to leave.
It was whatever. It was just a change. Like, I don't know. I don't remember much of it, but
Okay.
I like Burbank. I never stay here. Like I'm always somewhere else.
Oh, okay. So you get to Burbank and you start playing guitar a couple of years in, and to be good that quick, I mean, 4 months, you said you're already playing in bars.
I wasn't great when I started playing at the blues bars. It was
how did you even get in there? And not only that, like at what you said, 12, how are they letting you in?
It was the strangest thing. I used to skate. I sucked. I was never great at skating, but I'd skate with one of my friends, and we ended up going to this blues bar. I just wanted to get like water or some shit. And I met all these old blues musicians, and they'd played with like, one of them played with the Beatles and Elvis, and another played with like Etta James and James Brown. Like it was wild. And I talked to them for a little bit, and then they put me on stage with them and would just let me jam. So I did that constantly from 12 to 15. And I sucked when I started. I really wasn't that great, but they taught me everything, like really everything. I was god awful when I started playing with them, and I learned so much. I really do owe everything I have to them.
But it sounds like you must have had a connection with these people, or for them to be like, yeah, why not like hop up here and start playing with us, and then to continually come back. I mean, wow.
They were very nice. They were amazing.
Sorry, go ahead. Would your parents like come watch you at these bars? Yeah. Like, would they be like, oh yeah, that's cool, go ahead and play at this, jazz bar
they come and see me play every now and then. It was great.
That's awesome, man. And what about writing songs? Was that something that came later?
I've been writing since I started playing. The song I just released, actually, I wrote when I was 14. It's an older song, but it's like such a big piece of me. I just had to get it out there.
Yeah, it's such a great, I mean, you wrote that at 14?
I wrote that one when I was 14.
Wow. And okay, well, you come from obviously artistic household, and you said mom's a writer?
Yeah, my mom's
okay. So were you always kind of immersed with like creative writing, or was she something she'd kind of encourage at the house?
Yeah, I've always been a big book guy. I've always been like so into books, and my mom's an author. She's written her own books and she writes for TV, and so I've always had writing surround me.
And I read that you wrote to your favorite author at like 10 years old.
I did.
Like who did you write it to? You don't.
Mark Haddon. He wrote this book called The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. And it's one of the most interesting books I've ever read. And I loved it when I was about 10. So I wrote him a letter, and he wrote back to me, and he wrote the sweetest response. And it oh my God, 100% changed me. I used to keep it on the front page of my binder in middle school, and I would just read it every day. Like when I was bored in class, I was just reread the letter. And I remember one thing in the letter said, "There's nothing magical about books. The magic happens in the reader's head. All you need to do is learn to get the right order of the words," or something like that. And it stuck with me. And I 100% believe that. Same thing goes for songs. All the magic when it comes to music happens in the listener's head. It's very little to do with the artist.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing to have somebody actually respond, right? I mean, how big of something for that author just to pen something real quick to you, just like, oh, thanks so much for reaching out. Like, and that just obviously just changed
100%.
Your whole life.
Changed my life.
That's such a cool story. You said you had the letter in middle school. I would imagine you still have it.
I keep it taped to one of my guitars.
Oh, that's awesome.
I put a bunch of meaningful stuff on my guitars. My first acoustic guitar is like covered with a bunch of art and poetry and whatnot. I tape stuff to my guitars.
That's awesome.
I can
Instead of
tell.
stickers, just tape different.
Little stickers, little poetry, little I like everything that's meaningful to me.
Uh-huh.
I have one of my guitars here. I have a few stuff taped to it, but not that much. I'm working on it.
As you get a new guitar, do you just build
I do.
the memories to it, or
I do.
yeah, that's cool. That's
I
awesome.
like it that way.
The lyrics in this new song they're awesome, but to think of a 14-year-old writing some of this stuff down, that's, I mean, tell me about that a bit. I mean, you talk about acid and smoking pot, and if you're, 13, 14 years old or at this age, was that something shocking to your family? Like, was it something you were worried about presenting to them?
Not really. I mean, it was just a part of my life. It was just I was just trying to be as truthful as I could be. To be quite honest with you, I was really just trying to accurately display what was going on in my life at the time. And I love the song to death. I think it's about realizing you can't be a little kid anymore, can't run around, can't play in a playground, shit like that. And it was really when I took the change from being a child to becoming an adult. I had my closest friend at the time was this 18-year-old kid, and he was doing a bunch of stuff he shouldn't have been. He was just getting into the rough parts of life, and he was my closest friend. And so I don't know, all my friends were older than me, so I was having to act older than I was, and I felt like I was just witnessing childhood leaving. And so I wrote a song about it, and it's a perfect timestamp of where I was at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to be what, you're probably like a freshman in high school at that point or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think I'm old, but I think back to that too. I had older friends, and like and I skateboarded. So the kids that were early 20s, and they smoked and they drank and did these things, and it was like just being so young and just around that environment was just such a different life than the jump from what you were doing in 8th grade or to then you're now in this totally different life.
100%. But that's life. I mean,
yeah, no, for sure. Was that the first song you ever wrote, or just it happened to be a song that obviously stuck with you? I think
it was the first good song I ever wrote. I've been writing since I was 12. I wrote that at 14. I probably wrote 150 songs before I wrote that one. I would write every day. It was nonstop. But that was the first song I ever recorded. So I recorded it when I was 15.
And I would imagine, did you re-record it for the new version?
No,
that's the original version when you're 14 years old?
I mean, it got reproduced, but it was vocals and everything like that from when I was 15.
Wow, that's really impressive. When you started writing, were you showing your mom or anybody the songs at all, like to get feedback or anything? No,
not really. I would show a few of my friends. I actually one of my closest friends just texted me the sweetest thing, like had me in tears yesterday about how he was just so proud of me. And when I was like 13, I used to play him my songs, and he remembers when I played him that one. Is just, I'd played it for my friends, but really not many other people.
Okay. And did you play, aside from that band you played with, did you have a band? Like, were you doing the garage band thing or playing battle of the bands type things?
Not really. I was just writing as much as I could.
And did you start putting some of these songs up online or anything? Or like, how did that part of your career begin?
I started posting on TikTok when I was 15, and started doing well. I was blessed to have a great fan base, and that kind of jump started my career.
Was there a particular song or moment or video that got everything, going?
Yeah, it was. Oh my God, I love that question. It was that one song by that band Pavement. And it was that Midwest emo song. I started posting like Midwest email stuff. It was that one song that goes, show me a word that rhymes with pavement, and I won't kill your parents and roast them on a spit. I totally forget what it's called, but it was like trending on TikTok. So I posted a video of me singing it, and it got 30K views. So I posted a different video, and it got 40, and then the next one got 50. And it kind of just spiraled, and I started doing well, and it was amazing. Changed my life.
Yeah. Were you posting on there for a while before that one happened,
I
or was it?
posted like 4 or 5 times maybe.
Dang. What was
I
that
was,
like? Was it? I can't imagine seeing, just out of nowhere. Now you have 30,000 views. Is it like one of those things where you're just like, oh my gosh, how many are there now? Like, or did you go to sleep, wake up, and it's just doing insane numbers?
I remember I was sitting in this room on the phone with one of my friends, and I was like getting all these notifications, and I was like, oh my God, why am I getting all these notifications? So I opened TikTok, and I was like, holy shit, my video has 32,000 views. And I had a moment where I was like, oh, people like it, like people enjoy it. And it made me realize that my dreams were something that could be feasible. I could be a musician. I could develop a fan base. And it felt great. It was realizing that if I work hard enough, things could come my way.
Right. And like, yeah, to have that validation that, okay, this is something that's could possibly work out for me.
Yeah, it was amazing.
With that, how long into doing the covers did you eventually like tease one of your own songs or play one of your own songs?
Every now and then I would throw in like a song I'd written, but I didn't really like doing it. It wasn't until past like 6 to 9 months when I started doing like sessions and like working with producers that I started like teasing some of my songs.
Okay. And did those moments happen? Like, how did you start getting into those writing rooms?
I met my manager, and my manager, his name's Gary. He's the greatest. Changed my life 100%. He started throwing me in sessions, and I started writing with producers.
Wow. Was that like an intimidating thing to be, thrown in these rooms with probably people that have years upon years of songwriting experience?
It should have been, but it was not that intimidating to me, just because the way I thought about it, I was kind of like, it didn't scare me that much because I thought I was just kind of like, this is what I want to do. Either I'm going to give it my all or I'm not going to try at all. So I would just give it everything I had. And it turned out great. I love sessions. I mean, writing music is like therapy. It heals me.
Where'd you go into, like, the first writing room you went into? It's like, do you come in there with a bunch of ideas, or like, did you even know what to expect?
I had a few ideas. I did not really know what to expect, but I knew it was something I needed to be doing, so I did it.
And with the new song that you just released, you said you recorded the original version yourself. And did you do that where, at like your house? Did you start learning recording, Ableton or something like that beforehand, or?
I was doing work at the studio called Apex Art Studios. They're in NoHo. They're pretty great. And the owner of the studio kind of discovered me, and she would like give me great discounts on studio time. So I recorded it there.
And how did you, like, you were just working there you just rent the place out or whatever and just write there? Like, tell me about that.
I ended up meeting her at the blues bars I was playing at, and she was like, I love you. You should come to the studio I own. So I would go there all the time.
Wow.
I ended up recording for the first time.
Wow. And aside from playing with those guys, like, have you done any other like live things, like live performances?
Not really, to be honest, not really. I can't wait to play live. I'm terrified to play live and so beyond excited to play live, but I'm excited to get back on the stage.
Yeah. Are you just playing? Are you playing everything, or just playing with whoever the producers are? So you don't really have like a band surrounding you. It's just you kind of putting everything together.
I don't have a band right now, but sometimes like I play stuff on my tracks. Like sometimes I'll throw in a guitar part or bass part or piano, or I'll lay down drums. I record some stuff on my tracks depending on whether I can or can't. But I would love to have a band. I would absolutely love to have like a massive band backing me up. The dream is like a full choir and a full horn section and a full string section. But I don't know how feasible that is right now,
Sure. Have you always pursued wanted to be more of just like a solo artist? Was that your thing? Or like, because it doesn't sound like you were like, okay, I'm going to grab a bunch of friends together and we're going to start this garage band. It was more of like a solo venture.
I've always wanted to be a solo artist. That's been the dream for me always.
Okay.
My biggest idol was always Jim Morrison, and I always wanted to be like the same thing where it was Jim and then the band.
Okay. And like, well, one of the lyrics in the beginning of your song is that you say something about being 23 and that's the end, right?
Yeah.
And why did you decide on that? I mean, just being a Jim Morrison fan, I thought you maybe go with 27, but
That's an interesting. uh, Honestly, I remember thinking, should I do 27? And I remember thinking 23 just sounds good. I felt like it just sounded good, to be honest. It was the perfect age where it was young enough, but not too old. Like it sounded good and it felt good.
Got it. Okay.
Actually, I wrote that song, This Is the End, as a response to the Doors song, The End.
Oh, interesting.
And I've only had a few people notice it, but The End by the Doors, it ends with, this is the end. It ends with that thing. And so I wrote my response to it. I started my song with, this is the end.
Oh, wow. I love that. I was going to ask about that connection when you said that you like Jim Morrison. But wow. Okay. So you were big into that genre of, and like, I mean, Doors, it sounds like you're talking about Bruce Springsteen earlier, just artists like that.
Doors are my all-time favorite band. When I was like 11 and 12, I used to think I was reincarnated Jim in the middle. I fell in love with the Doors. I've never had an artist speak to me the way the Doors speak to me. Never in my life have I had a single artist. I've never related to an artist the way I love Jim. It just changed my life.
You're an old soul, man. You're an old soul. Well, this song with This Is the End, what made you just, I'm sure you have a plethora of other songs, especially since you wrote that at 14. What made you decide on that being kind of the first that you're going to show to people?
It felt like it was a good place to start. It's a perfect timestamp of where I was at the time. It's the first song I ever recorded. I definitely think that I make stuff I am more proud of now. I make stuff that I like much more, but that song perfectly shows who I was at the time. And if I didn't start on it, I feel like if I didn't release it first, I would feel like I'm starting on the wrong foot. It's just, that song was such a big part of me. I played it for like a year and a half before I recorded it. I needed to get it out. I did it for myself. Like it had to be out.
Was that the reason why you didn't go back and re-record it as well? Just because it felt like
it's interesting. I recorded it. I've told this story a few times, but it's my favorite thing about the song. I recorded the first half when I was 15, and I was dating this girl that I was madly in love with, head over heels. And I recorded the first half of the song when she was with me in the booth. She was with me when I recorded it. And I recorded the second half of the song the day things had ended. And I was so beyond heartbroken, broke my little 15-year-old heart.
Sure.
I think there's a clear tonal difference in the song from the first half to the second half, where it turns to a more sad and depressive tone. It turns from reflective to more somber, and it just becomes more of an empty tone. And I love that in the song. I think it's interesting. Like I said, it perfectly displays where I was in my life at the time.
I'd have to go back. I'm going to go back and listen for that. That's really interesting.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. I've had conversations with other artists that would record something like, with the COVID lockdown, you couldn't go to a studio or whatever. They'd record something in their closet, and that would be the take they ended up using on their major record release, because just trying to recreate the emotion and what was behind that original take it just felt like it didn't land the same way.
I rarely re-record vocals. I like the first run through. It's my most emotional. It's when I'm just getting to know the song. It's when I can really like give it all the flair I can.
Yeah, and then to kind of try to recreate that, and almost like hard. For some people, yeah, they just feel like it's not as authentic, I would think.
Absolutely. I get that.
Sure. Well, after this song, do you have others coming out? Like, what's kind of the plan for you moving forward here?
Just keep releasing. I have a bunch of ideas of songs I'm going to release. I have a bunch of demos. I know the songs I want to release. I'm just going to keep doing it in a timely manner. Just keep releasing, hoping it does well.
Well, I love what you're doing. It just blows my mind that you recorded those vocals at that young of an age.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's a great song, and I can't wait to hear the other things you have coming out.
Thank you.
And I appreciate your time today. I have one more quick question for you.
Hit
I
me.
want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Any advice for aspiring artists? That's a hard one. The thing is, I am an aspiring artist. I've nowhere near made it. I've released one song. Like, I'm still working too.
But you've done a thing. I mean, obviously you have a fan base, and you've done these things. And I'm like a kid that's just like, I don't know, like, can I do this? Like, you know.
I would start as early as you can. That is the one thing, because you write 50 horrible, god awful songs before you write one good one. The amount of terrible songs I wrote. I keep a notebook full of every single song I've ever written. And there's some really bad stuff in there. There's some really just horrible, disgusting songs in there. But the bad songs are a part of the journey. It's all like, you write 50 bad songs, and then you write one song that has a great melody and has a great hook, and it sounds amazing. And just, I don't know. That's my biggest one. And learn, just never stop learning. Like, always taking new information. I do one thing that helps me a lot. I listen to a new artist full discography once a week. I listen to every single song a new artist has made. And I've discovered some of my favorite artists through that. I'm super into Jeff Buckley right now, just because I listen to every song he made and I love it. I'm super into Muse, like, it's stuff like that. Just always listen to new artists, things like that. Just absorb as much information as you can.
I love that. So you're not necessarily, now I'm curious, finding like new bands. I mean, to find Jeff Buckley, obviously that he's dead at this point, but I mean, he's from the 90s was when he was really peaking. So you'll just find some artists and be like, okay, or even Muse. I mean, like, this band sounds cool. Like, I've heard of them. Or like, how, like, aside from those two, is there anyone else that you've discovered recently? I'm just curious now.
I don't know. I listen to everything. I listen to everything from country to gangster rap, to be quite honest.
Okay.
I listen to everything. I don't even know how to put it.
I love it, man. Well, thank you so much for doing this again. I appreciate you.